If you're a speaker, trainer, coach, or consultant, this is for you. Many of you ask me, how do I get paid to speak? When the question you should really be asking me is, how do I position myself powerfully to get paid to speak? Don't worry, I got you. And I'm going to answer that question in my Authority Elevator Masterclass. 90 minutes, me and you, I am going to show you the 3-step framework that you need to implement in your business right now to be looked at as a highly paid, sought after speaker. We're going to talk about messaging, marketing, and monetization. All you have to do is click on the link. It's either under this message or somewhere on this page. Click on the link, go to authorityelevator.com and grab your seat. You want to make sure that you're in the place. Stop asking the wrong questions. The question is not, how do I get paid to speak? The question is, how do you position yourself to get paid to speak? And you'll get that answer in the Authority Elevator. So come join me in the next one. Click on the link or just go to authorityelevator.com and grab your seat today. Welcome to another edition of the Speaking of Speaking podcast. And I'm your host, Kelly Charles Collins. And speaking of speaking, this is part 2 of our Signature Talk series. So part 1, I talked to you about what a signature talk is, what it isn't, why it's important, why you absolutely 100%, no questions asked, non-negotiable, need a signature talk. So if you haven't seen part 1, go hop over there and watch that before you come here. What we're going to do today is I'm going to be talking to you about in this episode is how to craft a signature talk, what you need to have as a signature talk that converts to 5 figures. I'm a lawyer, so let me give you the disclaimer. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to get 5 figures. What I am telling you is that this process and understanding this process around building a talk is what has gotten me 5 figures for my talks, right? And I'm talking multiple 5 figures sometimes. So the process of having a signature talk, first to understand that your signature talk is a business asset. I said this in part 1 and it bears repeating. When you are a speaker, a consultant, a coach, anyone who wants to leverage speaking to get paid to speak or speak to get paid, you must have a signature talk. Anybody out here that's making, 5 figures, 6 figures for speaking, it's because they have a signature talk. They have something that they have become known for, that people can rely on them to deliver that to an audience and that they know exactly what they're talking about. It is rooted in some type of experience or expertise, and it will be delivered competently and confidently. And for that, they will be given or they will be compensated. Sorry, y'all. I'm not editing that out. They will be compensated 5 figures or more, right? So it's important for you, even though you're not a celebrity, even though you're not well known, to have a signature talk and to take this seriously. So not to just throw something together. I talked about, there are many people who teach you how to put your talks together, and they just say, have an opening, have 3 points, have a closing, here's your talk, go about your day. Or I will script something for you that then you go out and deliver. If somebody scripts something for you that you then go out and deliver, you're not an expert, you're not a thought leader, you're an actor. Actors get scripts and actors go on stage and deliver scripts. They get paid for that. And if you want to do that, then that's perfectly fine. However, if you want to be an expert or a thought leader who gets paid, then you have to look at this as not being a script. And one of the things that I did in order to really help my clients with their talks is to analyze how I was developing my talks. So I remember one day I was having a conversation with my sister and she was saying, let's look at your talks and how they are actually put together, the framework that you're using to put together, because I wasn't thinking about it in a framework. I knew I was doing a certain thing all the time, but I wasn't really thinking about, well, this is my framework or process or system or unique mechanism for the way that I do it. And it was based on my decades as a lawyer, and how I would present my opening statements, my closing arguments, how I would show up in front of juries, how I would show up in front of the court when I was arguing motions. I was always speaking in frameworks. And that's because when I was in law school, that's how they taught us. They taught us to think inside of a framework, they taught us to analyze inside of a framework. And so when I transitioned to being a professional speaker, a full-time speaker, thinking about how I would show up, I was operating inside of a framework unconsciously. Right? At the time, didn't really think about that this was a conscious thing that I was doing. But when my sister asked me that question and we went back and looked at it, we did see that there was actually a framework within which I was developing these talks, and why it was easy for me to then be able to develop talk after talk, because I wasn't just making it up out of thin air. I was actually following a process that helped my brain to categorize information in a way that was necessary for my audience to be able to understand it. So when you hear me talk about the way that I work with my clients to help them develop their talks, this is a real process. This is a process that's rooted in decades of personal and professional experience. And now I have put it into an actual framework that I teach to my clients. It's called the Signature Talk Black Print. And it is a process that once they learn it, they can't unlearn it. And once they learn it, it is leverage, because that system that they learn, the Signature Talk Black Print, and all of the frameworks that are built into that Black Print, right, into that framework, the frameworks that are built into the frameworks, it allows you to have a system that is repeatable, that is scalable, which is so important. I always tell my clients that I am teaching them to fish. I'm not feeding them the fish. I am teaching them to fish, because I want them to be able to be sustainable and be able to sustain their business outside of me. So I am, my work is to put me out of work and bring in new people, right? As we keep going through this process. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a signature talk, or you're like not even sure, what your signature talk should be, then we should have a conversation. You can go in the show notes and click, you can schedule a call, and we'll talk about whether or not our signature talk experience is right for you, in terms of helping you to take all of what's in your beautiful, brilliant brain and really shaping it into an intellectual masterpiece that converts, whether it's converting on stages or it's converting in the corporate space as a leader, and just beyond, just helping you to really understand. One of the things that, if you pay attention to how I speak, I actually speak in frameworks a lot. A lot of what I do is to speak in a framework. And it's because it helps me to stay on task. It helps me to stay on the journey. It helps me to keep my audience in mind. As a professional speaker, your responsibility is to your audience. It's not for your show. It's not for you to be up there and be like, I'm the best thing that ever happened, even though you might be. When you're on the stage, your responsibility is to those people who are in the audience, who have given you their time. And one of the best ways to do that is to prepare, and to prepare a message, not a story, prepare a signature talk, a complete message that takes them on a journey. When you do that, you will build an asset for your business. Your signature talk is not just the thing that you deliver on stage. It is an asset. It should be an asset. And if you are sitting here thinking, well, what I've been talking about on stages, I don't see that as an asset, stay tuned and then give me a call. Get on my calendar, right? Because if you're speaking, if you want to make money in this business, if you want to be a 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure speaker, you must have this asset, and that asset is your signature talk. So your signature talk is supposed to do two jobs. Your signature talk probably has more jobs, but I'm gonna narrow it down to two jobs. One is to intrigue, transform, and shift your audience. That's when you're on stage. And two, it's to sell you to the audience that can hire you. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But it's to position you for opportunities. What happens is a lot of you think of your talks as just the thing that you deliver on stage, and it is separate and apart from anything else. So it's only the thing that you deliver on stage, and you don't think about it in terms of the entire cycle of your business, from marketing and positioning and pitching and prospecting and sales, all of it. If you go back to the video where I talk about how to get paid to speak, and I call it's the 6 P's that you need, I talk about positioning, prospecting, pitching, packaging, pricing, and presentation skills. Your signature talk is the through line in all of those things. But many of you just think of it in terms of presentation. You don't think about it in leveraging all the pieces of your talk in some way to be able to position yourself, to elevate your authority, to increase your influence, to get people to know you, to have something that people can talk about so that they can refer you. You don't think about it in terms of prospecting and looking at who actually is out there that can put me on these stages. Who are the leads that I need? Who are the people that I need to be in contact with? What are the stages? You don't think about it in terms of pitching, so that when you're pitching, instead of pitching you, right? Because we like to be important. Instead of pitching us, you're actually pitching inside of your signature talk, because if you build your signature talk the way that we do, it takes into account the audiences. And so therefore, when you pitch, you're pitching and they can see what's in it for them, as opposed to you just trying to get them to give you money to open your mouth, right? It comes into play when we're talking about packaging. How do we package this as an offer as opposed to just a thing? Oh, I could talk about that. I could do this. No, this is an offer that has value. And therefore, pricing, you understand the value of it, and therefore you can attach pricing to it, as opposed to, oh, I'll just speak for free exposure or a bag of chips, right? And then about presentation, how do I actually deliver this so that my audience that is listening to me actually gets taken on the journey, that they actually are listening to something that does something for them, that gives them something, that shifts them in some way, that transforms them in some way, that gives them skills and tools, mindset shifts, perspective shifts. So you see, a talk is not just a talk. A signature talk or presentation is not just a signature talk or presentation. It's actually a very valuable asset if it is done correctly. And that's exactly what we do. This is exactly how I work with my clients, to ensure that they are building an asset that is valuable, that they are proud of, that they will go out and leverage in all of those 6 areas to be able to convert into speaking gigs, speaking engagements, into coaching, into courses, into books, into licensing, into podcasts, into magazines, to whatever. You can do whatever you want to do with it, because it is an asset that just gives and gives and gives. All right. So let me see if there's anything else in my notes I wanted to tell you before I go into the areas. Let me just check my notes. Okay. It is also, and this you'll get from what I just said, but just to put it in, like, tie a bow on it, when you're talking about talks that command 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, they are things that are structured, they are intentional, and they are designed to sell. And when I want to stick on that part for 1 second. So they're structured, they're intentional, and they're designed to sell. And I don't mean that they are designed for you to sell to the audience. I mean that they are designed to sell you to your audience. Get that distinction? They're designed to sell you to the audience, but they're also designed to sell right on the back end. But I want you to understand that when we're talking about a signature talk, the way that I do it, the way that I work with clients around a signature talk black print, I am building something that allows you to have a business asset that you can sell and sell from. Right? That you can sell to get in front of your audience that you need to get in front of, that can then pay you on the back end. So it is multifaceted. It is it's intentional. And it is rooted in deep levels of experience and expertise and understanding of what it takes to actually move people and shift people. So let's talk about the 5 areas. Got my notes. We're gonna get through it. Take notes. Take notes. I keep forgetting to tell y'all in my podcast to take notes, but just know that this is a learning and doing podcast. So I want you to take notes. So the first thing, when you're thinking about your signature topic, first thing is that you must have a topic that is in demand. When I say a topic that is in demand, I mean a topic that somebody is willing to pay for. This is called your paying audience. When we build talks with our clients, we make sure that they understand that there are 2 audiences most times. Well, there are 2 audiences all the time. The audiences may be the same person or they're different people. Who are those audiences paying and consuming? Right now, as we're talking about making sure that you have a topic that's in demand and that they will pay for, we're talking about your paying audience. Who out there is hiring people, paying them money to talk about this thing? Sometimes we have a topic that might be, popular or that people love or that your circle, right, is like, oh my God, that's so great. You should really talk about that. And it might be great in story time with your friends, but it is not something that people will actually pay for, that corporations will pay for, that coaching clients will pay for, that retreat clients will pay for, that mastermind clients will pay for, that schools will pay for, that churches will pay for. Who is that paying audience? And does your topic align with their pockets? Right? So you need to have a topic that is in demand. And not only is it in demand, it is a topic that is in demand that people are paying for. Because there are topics that are in demand that people are not necessarily paying for. So that's 1. 2, you need to have a defined audience. So you have 2 audiences. So we just talked about the paying audience, which I'll talk about just a little bit more, but you have your paying audience and you have your consuming audience, and they are different. They are different, but they might be the same person. So let me explain that. When you're in the corporate space, you have a paying audience and you have a consuming audience. They're different. The paying audience is the person that you're getting on the call with to have the sales conversation with, that's going to put you, in front of their employees. Same thing with like a conference or an association. You might be talking to the meeting planner or the event host. They're the ones that you're having the conversation with. They're the paying audience, the person who is going to exchange value with you to put you on stage. That's one audience. You need to know who that is, right? Second is your consuming audience, the people who are going to consume your message. They are not paying you unless you're talking about perhaps a coaching, mastermind, course kind of situation where your paying audience and your consuming audience are the same people. Here's why it's important to know the difference, even if they are the same people and why it's important for your signature talk. It's important for you to know because paying audience and consuming audience have different problems. They may be related problems, but they look at them differently. Think about in a corporation. If you're talking to your paying audience, so a leader, somebody, an HR person who's bringing you in to speak, their problem is they have a revolving door. That's their problem. People are coming in, they're going out. It's a revolving door. It's a problem for them. The people who are going in and out the door, they have a problem. Their problem is your leadership sucks. I can't stand it here. There's no opportunity for me to excel or to grow here, right? They're related. They're mad about stuff, causing the revolving door. You have a revolving door. What's that revolving door doing? It's impacting your bottom line, but you're looking at it from a different perspective. You're not necessarily looking at it, paying audience, as leadership sucks. You're saying these people don't want to work. They just keep leaving. Everybody just keeps leaving. I don't know why they're leaving. This is impacting our bottom line. They're over here like your leadership sucks. I don't care what you do. I'm out of here. So the problems are related, but they are not thought of in the same way. When you are building your talk, if you're building it the right way, you have to be accounting for both of those things. Same thing with their transformation. Where do they want to go? Paying audience and consuming audience have different perspectives, and therefore you have to be able to account for those different perspectives when you are building your talk, because one is you're going to use to sell to get you on the stage in front of the people who you want to consume the message. And when you get in front of those people, then you have to then give them the message that they're looking for. So you have to have a defined audience. It can't just be everybody that you speak to. And even when you come down to it, for example, if you want to say my audience is women, is it women? Is it all women? Is it Black women? Is it Hispanic women? Is it, women in corporate spaces? Is it stay-at-home moms? What is it? Right? So you really want to make sure that you have a defined audience so that you can determine who your paying audience is and consuming. And it kind of sounds, you're probably thinking, Kelly, what the heck does this have to do with my signature talk? I just want my topic, my my opening, my 3 little points, in my closing. It has everything to do with it, because unless you understand these things, you can't structure your talk in a way that's going to convert and get you on these stages. Third thing, you have to have a message that converts. You've heard me say create intrigue, transform your audience, and shift your perspectives. That's one of our frameworks, the ITS framework. A message that converts, intrigues, transforms, and shifts. I remember I was asked to speak on a panel and of women lawyers. And afterwards, my sister said to me, basically, that I had dropped the ball, because she was there and she watched everything. And she said I had dropped the ball on how I showed up that day. And she said, because people loved you and they clapped and they were excited. She said, but you didn't intrigue them enough. She's like, that was your audience. Those women lawyers, Black women lawyers, were your audience to be able to want to work with you further. And you see that didn't happen because you didn't intrigue them. She's like, you excited them. They, you raised some awareness about stuff, but you did not intrigue them. And so this is something that I make sure that I work with my clients on, that it's not just about, getting the applause or whatever. We need to intrigue people. When people are intrigued, they want more. So whether you're having the sales conversation so that you can get on the stage, or you're on the stage and you want them to come work with you further, intrigue has to be a part of a message that converts. Transforming the audience has to also be a part of that message. They have to feel that they are different. than when they came in. Something has happened for them. Not that they just listened to you and your sob story or your accolades and your triumphs, and they're like, that was nice, standing ovation, and their life has not changed in any way. Their mindset has not changed. Their perspective has not shifted in any way. So a message that converts has to create intrigue, it has to transform your audience, and it has to shift perspective. So that's the third thing. Number 4, and we're going to do 5 and then we're out of here. Number 4, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, it is both a product and a sales tool. And from the beginning, it has to be built that way. It has to be built as the thing that you sell to get on stage and the thing that you sell to get clients off stage. Thing that you sell to get on stage, the thing that you sell to get clients when you get off the stage. So it is both a product and a tool. It is a thing that gets you booked, and it's a thing that creates leverage. Using our Signature Talk Black Print, when we work with our clients, we are not just creating a talk just to create a talk. We are creating a talk to create leverage. We are creating a talk that they can use to write books, to have courses, to create coaching programs, to license if they want to do it, to start, online universities, to do whatever they want, to build products. So you see behind me my books and my cards, all based around my Signature Talk. The other thing is, think beyond. Think beyond. Now, I had not thought about this in terms of when, leveraging the Signature Talk Black Print and putting their talks together. But one of my clients, Sharonda has taken this. She has really leveraged the Signature Talk Black Print and her Signature Talk, right? So it's not just the Black Print. The Black Print creates the product, but then she's taken the product, which is her talk, and just gone off beyond what I had even thought about. What she has done with her talk is to leverage her talk to get funding for initiatives that she wants to do. So Sharonda is a nurse by profession, and she really wants to help nurses get into entrepreneurship. And she's very focused on the way that people are treated in hospitals from her own personal experience, her family experience. And so she knows how to run an emergency room like nobody else, and she can help hospitals put their emergency rooms in tip-top shape. So that's her profession, and that's her professional experience. But she's also a registered nurse, and she knows how that profession is for other nurses and their capabilities. And so she has taken her Signature Talk and has gone out and applied for grants and funding and used the pieces. So she has what she calls the pivotal P's in her talk, so her framework. She uses those to go out and pitch for funding. And actually, right before I came on to record this, she just messaged me to tell me that another pitch that she put in for funding has gone to the next level. She's been moved up to the next level. So she has even taken it, and when I said it was scalable, she has even taken it beyond what I had thought about in terms of what can this do. And as I was saying to you, just now about her pivotal P's, one of the things that we do when we help our clients craft their talks is to ensure that they have a unique mechanism, a framework, a process, a system. And the thing for you to understand is that when you are crafting these talks, it's not me crafting your talk. It is you crafting your talk. I am facilitating the crafting of your talk. And what I'm doing is hearing what you're saying, pulling in your expertise, synthesizing that information, reframing it, and helping you to put it together. Why is that distinction important? That distinction is important because then it makes sure that that talk is yours. It is not like what anybody else is doing. It is not ChatGPT-able. It is not something that because you and Mary Sue are talking about leadership or talking about relationships or talking about speaking, that it comes out the same way. It will not. It will be uniquely yours. And so when I talk about her having her pivotal P's, that is something that we developed inside of listening to her expertise and how it is that she is going to change the world. And her pivotal P's is what she uses. And sometimes all of those pivotal P's are necessary, and sometimes it's not, just depending on what it is that she's doing. So you can deconstruct your talk to use it as a tool and as different products any way that you see fit, any way that your mind, your heart desires. You are limited just by your own imagination or your desire or your willingness to take action. And for Sharonda, she's like, listen, I'm going to use this till the wheels fall off. And I am so proud of her. And I'm proud of, all my other clients too. But I just wanted to show you that that is something that's different, and how dynamic the process is, how dynamic what we do is, and how it's so much different from what everyone else does. Because if all they do is help you extrapolate your story into 15 minutes, 30 minutes, that's not going to help you to do the things that she has done and what some of my other clients have done. My clients have taken their signature talks to be featured on podcasts, to be featured in publications, to get paid speaking engagements, to write books, to be featured as recognized as top voices on LinkedIn when they had that. All kinds of things, to, like Sharonda, to get funding, to host their own events, to do all the things again. But all of it comes back to their signature talk, which they have really embraced as both a product and a tool. Number 5, you have to build in the sales conversation. This goes back to when I was talking about your paying audience. You have to build in the sales conversation, which means that you have to understand what is important to your paying audience and how you are the person, not a solution, but the solution for them. You have to build in the sales conversation where, if you get a call for speakers, right? You see a call for speakers or a call for presentations, and you want to submit for that, you have to build that into the talk so that you're not, every time that something comes up, trying to figure out how the heck, wait, what do they want? What they want, an abstract. What the heck is an abstract? We help you do that. Learning objectives? I don't know how to write those. Don't worry, we got you. We help you do that. All the things are built into your talks, right? How to do all of these things and then actually doing them. I am a learning and doing type of gal. It's one of the reasons that I'm about to launch out into the world some implementation intensive. Because what I know about me and what I've learned about me in this process of being an entrepreneur is that I like to see things accomplished. I like to see my clients actually do things. It's one thing to give them all the tools and put them out there in the world, but then I'm always wondering, did you do it? And I'll call them and I'll text them and I'm watching for it. And so this way, doing these types of implementation intensives where I not just tell you, what and why and how, but we actually do it right there. That will satisfy my urge and my desire to see you all win and actually do the thing, and also satisfy you in actually having things, tangible things that can help you to actually grow in this business, however it is that you want to grow, whether you want this to be a full-time endeavor for you, a part-time endeavor, or a lead generator for you. My goal is to ensure that you have the things that elevate your authority, elevate your influence, so that you can create the impact and generate the income that you desire from using your brain, from cash flowing what you know. That is what this is all about for me. And so having your signature talk, your signature presentation, your unique mechanisms, the way in which you do things and how you do it and who you do it for, and being very, very clear about that is vitally important to your success. And because my purpose is to be the light for others to stand in their greatness, I need to show up in a way that allows me to be a vessel for you to be able to do those things. And the Signature Talk is one of the ways that we do that. The Signature Talk Black Print is the methodology that we leverage to help you do that. So if you really want to have 5-figure speaking fees, maybe just as a speaking fee, which I do, or if you want to have 5-figure complete offers where you're doing training and providing some other coaching, etc., it all starts with your Signature Talk. So go back and watch part 1 so that you understand the importance of it. Rewatch this so that you understand. And then if you are thinking, my talk does not do that, I don't know what Kelly was talking about, it wasn't built that way, and you really want to have a talk that converts, a talk that intrigues, that transforms, that shifts, then we need to have a conversation. So click the link you can go to signaturetalkthatsells.com and get on the calendar, or you can go into the show notes and click the link. It'll take you directly to my calendar. We'll chat to see if working together is a good fit, and if I can support you, and if I can, then we'll talk about what that looks like. Even if you choose not to, do that, I want you to go back and think about, does your talk do all of these things? And if it does not, you need to do something about that, or else you're going to be spinning your wheels in this business and continuing to wonder how it is that them over there are getting 5 figures and you over here getting exposure. All right, y'all, that's it for now. And until next time, remember to subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what your aha moments and your takeaways, and importantly, make sure that you do the work. Until next time, take care.